So I'm going to start off first by saying I apologize. I'm still sick, so if I sound a little weird, that's why. Anyways, so back to it. About 2 years ago, people had a little thing that they were doing about the MCU where they were talking about one marvelous scene, and everyone would basically make a video or a post talking about the one scene from the MCU that they really appreciated, really loved. You had people talking about whenever Peter Parker first showed up in Civil War, or whenever you had Thor hold up Stormbreaker, or when Thanos did the snap, or just any of these really iconic scenes from the series. It's a TV show. Like, who are we kidding? So we had all of these random moments that people were really, really just very iconic for them. They really loved about it. It's what made the entire franchise worth it for them. And mine's not one of those because, frankly, I don't really like the MCU. I don't really like superhero movies. I kind of find them repetitive, and I kind of feel like they just kind of steal money from your wallet because you're just going to go pay to see the same thing over and over and over, and for some reason you think it's a different experience. But there was this one scene from the MCU that I actually liked, and I revisited this while I've been sick because I've had free time. And I was just kind of like, this is probably the peak acting in this entire franchise for me. And I feel like no one has really reached that level again. Because this was so believable for me that I was just kind of like, huh, everything else has just been cartoony as hell. And the scene I'm talking about is whenever Bruce Banner meets Natasha Romanoff, or Hulk meets Black Widow. Not really the Hulk, but kind of the Hulk, kind of. So what I'm talking about is in the first Avengers movie, the Joss Whedon one, whenever Black Widow first interacts with, Bruce Banner, she lures him into the like this little hut on the outskirts of the city or whatever. I don't know. It's been a couple years since I've seen this movie, and she lures him there just to talk to him, try to recruit him because they have to go out through the Tesseract or whatever. And he's just kind of like, he has a little moment where he's like, "Oh, we can't always get what we want." He like pushes a cradle, kind of implying that he wants kids, something that's never revisited again. And it's kind of a sad moment, but this isn't where I'm getting to. Like, a lot of people could have missed that moment. When I watch movies, I kind of like pick up on everything, which kind of annoys me when other people don't seem to do that, especially with TV shows. But the scene I'm talking about is whenever he played her to get her to reveal herself, because she said, or he said that, "Oh, I assume that we're surrounded," and she goes, "No, just us." So he pretended to be angry and it scared her, so she pulls out a gun, and she's like,
One's gonna put you in
Stop lying to me! I'm sorry, that was mean. I just wanted to see what you do. Why don't we do this the easy way where you don't use that and the other guy doesn't make a mess? Okay? Natasha.
now, if you're watching this scene and you're understanding it properly, you can see that the Hulk is a scary fucking thing. Before Marvel made him into this butt end of a joke, which they've done throughout the whole series. He's just been a goofball this entire time. He's never been as scary as he was in this moment. He wasn't even on screen for that. And I think that there's something special about that. It's what I really liked about the first Avengers movie, even though it's probably the worst one. And I think it's actually worse than Age of Ultron, which is just kind of like, what? I think the first one was really bad, but I really liked how they did the Hulk because they just kind of everyone knows who the Hulk was even before this movie. I don't give a shit what you have to lie about telling me that you knew who Iron Man was before 2008. You didn't, unless you watched like Dexter's Laboratory or something like that. There were no Iron Man fans. There's barely even any Captain America fans. And the Hulk everyone knew, but he was like nobody's favorite back then. It was like Marvel was always Wolverine, Spider-Man, and Deadpool. That's what you had when you liked Marvel. I mean, sure, there were some people that wanted to like be different, like Guardians of the Galaxy. Nobody knew who they were before 2014. Like, come on. Um, but that one scene with the Hulk, it just really layers it into your brain that you know that he is dangerous. He's scary. Like, this isn't something you want unleashed upon anybody, unless it's like a life or death situation. You want him out against like your enemies. And you could just see the fear in her eyes, and I don't feel like we've had this level of acting since then. I really don't. Like, I don't know. It was just something about Scarlett Johansson. Like, she played it off really well. Like, this woman was terrified for her life in the scene because she thought she was going to die because she pissed him off, even though he played her. I think that's fucking cool. Because later on in the series, whenever you see Black Widow, especially, when she interacts with anybody, it's like, oh, we got gods now we're fighting, we got aliens, we got robots, we got end of the world kind of shit. And she keeps her cool about it the whole time. But it's that moment with the Hulk. That was the most believable thing for me. And that's what I really appreciate about that scene. So Josh Whedon, hate him or like him, it doesn't matter. He nailed that. And the MCU has never been able to recapture that kind of stuff with me ever again. And I've seen every single one of these movies up until Endgame. After Endgame, I didn't care about seeing any of them else. Because like I didn't even like Endgame. I don't think I've been shy about mentioning that a few times because I think I actually made a whole video just shitting on it because it was a really bad movie. It really was. But, actually, I'd probably say Endgame is worse than the first Avengers movie because it's the last one. It's the worst one. And everyone likes it, but it's the stupidest one. The plot makes no sense. But that's a whole another video for another time if I wanted to retouch up on that kind of stuff again. But for the one marvelous scene with Black Widow meeting Bruce Banner, I loved it. I think it's really kind of interesting how they did that, and I would like to see more things like that in the future if they ever want to be serious with this franchise again, instead of just being like a cash grab, because that's all it is at this point. I might revisit it if they did something cool like that again, but I don't know. We'll have to see. But as for you, if you like this video, leave a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and if you have one marvelous scene from the MCU, let me know what it is. Maybe you might convince me of something different. We'll see. But until then, I'll see everyone later. Have a good day.